Hi Flosstube, my name is Kirsty, Crafting Kirsty on Instagram and on YouTube. This is a channel about cross-stitching, quilting, my seemingly never-ending quick and easy crochet shawl, any other crafts of which I haven't done any this month, and I might occasionally throw some photos of my gardening. Probably not right now because I haven't taken any, but from now going onwards I hope to include some gardening. It is Tuesday the 6th of April 2021, so we've just had the Easter bank holiday weekend, and this is Flosstube number 4. I hope everyone's well. I hope you've all had a good March and the first 6 days of April. I had hoped to film during the Easter weekend, but actually decided to use that time to do some more crafty stuff instead. I'm going to start off by saying hello to my new subscribers and thanking you. I think the majority of you have probably come across from Beth at Be More Creative. She gave me a shout out, I think, 2, possibly 3 videos ago now. She has a higher rotation of her filming than I do. So it was very kind of her to shout me out. So thank you very much, Beth. And actually, I've got a bit more to talk about in a minute. So hello to my new subscribers and thank you very much for subscribing. I hope you enjoy this video. Right, I will start out with a shout out actually. So first of all, I'm going to shout out Beth at Be More Creative. I should imagine the majority of you have already watched her and hopefully subscribed to her. She started, I think, cross-stitching in August and has really thrown herself into it. She was just doing the March Madness, which she's obviously now finished. I think her 2 projects that really stand out for me have been she did an Autumn Lane Stitchery anniversary piece for a friend's wedding, and she converted the colours to the colours that had been used, that her friend had at the wedding. And it was absolutely stunning. It was so nice. And she's also doing the Loose Feathers series from Blackbird Designs. She's doing them all on one piece, and again, they just look great. But recently, as in Easter Sunday, she uploaded a video to YouTube and she has designed a chart for free. It is to go along with the hashtag Pocket Full of Posies sale that Nicola from Bumble Stitches is organising. I think that started on the 1st of April. And as I said, she's designed this really, really sweet small chart that's free to download from her YouTube channel. I hope to insert a picture of it now. And yes, if you download it and stitch it, do use the hashtag Be More Creative and hashtag Pocket Full of Posies sale. So you need to go to her YouTube channel, as I said, Be More Creative. I will write this all down below. I know I garble a bit. Yes, if you go to a YouTube channel, you can download it for free from there. So that's very kind of it, and it is a really sweet little chart. It's called Stitching Blooms chart. Actually, I'm going to carry on now with a few more British YouTubers, or Scottish and British YouTubers. I get a lot of comments that are made when people come across my channel. It's so nice to find a English Flosstuber. Who else do you watch? Do you know of any more? So I thought I'd start to do some shout outs, and I'm going to do them in alphabetical order, and I'm going down as far as C. So I'll start with Alba Stitcher, who I'm sure many of you already watch. Then April, May, June Stitcher. She does a lot of shepherd's bush pieces and a lot of pieces with, I think, quite intricate stitching on it. They're absolutely stunning. They're really, really nice. So she has a good channel. Obviously, Be More Creative, Beth, as I've already mentioned. Then there is Belushi Stitches, who I think has still only done 1 Flosstube. I think she might have a few videos prior to that. I haven't checked those out. And she does quite large heids, full coverages pieces. The 2 that really stood out to me, she had this unicorn drinking from a lake, and it was this mirror image. So as you turn the piece upside down, it was exactly the same image from top to bottom. It was so clever. I've never seen anything like that before. And I just thought it was brilliant. And she also had this lovely mermaid piece, just done, I would say it was monochromatically. There's probably about 800 blues in it. But that was absolutely stunning as well. Then there's Boo's Mum 11, who is all the way up in Scotland, and I think all the way up in the very north of Scotland. She has quite a variety of projects on the go. She's just recently finished a mirabilia piece that's absolutely stunning. And she has these two cats, which are really quite amusing. One of them is a younger kitten that's a bit of a terror at the moment. I'm sure she won't mind me describing him as that. He is very cute. But she quite often is filming, and one cat goes hooning across the sofa behind her, quickly followed by the second cat in hot pursuit. So it's always quite fun watching out for those. Bumble Stitches, Nicola, who, you know, I'm sure needs no introduction unless obviously you've been living underneath a rock for the past 6 months. Then we've got Zoe of Coco Creates. Now Zoe actually only lives a couple of miles down the road from me. So hopefully once COVID is done and dusted, we will be able to meet up, which will be great. In her recent video, she showed 2 chatelaine kits, full kits that she had just purchased that were absolutely stunning. And she also does quite a lot of crochet and knitting. And her crochet blanket at the moment is it's just amazing. It is just absolutely stunning. Envy, severe crochet envy. So I'm still trying to get my easy shawl stitched. She's winging through with these most amazing different stitches. We have Coco Cross Stitcher, who I think is reasonably new to Flosstube. I think she has about 8-10 videos out. Again, she does quite a big variety of different patterns and charts. And then obviously there's Craftivating Creations, Sean, a younger girl. And I started watching her, and I still do watch her. She does a lot of bothy thread kits. She's very into the Rendell designs, so the ducks, and like my hedgehog in my first YouTube that I showed. So yes, again, she's Craftivating Creations. So that's it for the shout outs. Got down to C, and then next month I'll work my way through another lot. I'm going to now go on to Stitchy Kindness. It's so exciting. I've got some good Stitchy Kindness. I couldn't believe it. On my first, and I have asked, I am allowed to talk about her. On my first YouTube video, I was contacted, or Chris subscribed to my channel and messaged me, left me a very kind message, and I replied, and then we started chatting, and the poor woman hasn't been able to get away since. It's like, oh my God, I have a Stitchy friend. How exciting. Anyway, we really started chatting when we were both trying to buy linen on the Foxglove and Lace linen sale. She does these sort of Instagram sales. It's just horrific. It's just like, if you haven't got fast Wi-Fi, you haven't got anything. It's just, we were both just afterwards going, oh my God, I'm exhausted. Did you get anything? I don't know if I've got anything. I think I've bought everything. And anyway. So she had she had won a couple of pieces, or bought a couple of pieces, and she very kindly offered to send me one, and I did offer to pay for it, and she said no, she'd like to send it as a Stitch Kindness. So I said, well, thank you very much, that's lovely of you. So she sent me, so I think she bought 2 of the same pieces. So she sent me 32 count vellum. So this is from Foxglove and Lace linens. So it's this absolutely gorgeous, neutrally, I wouldn't use the word beige, but gorgeous colour. And then, because no Stitchy Kindness can travel without a tea bag, I also got this tea bag, which is absolutely great. I am a bit of a tea snob, so I find individual packed tea bags like this are fantastic for putting in the car, because if we ever stop at McDonald's, 3 children and a partner who is addicted to McDonald's, we're always stopping at McDonald's whenever we go on a journey. They don't do Earl Grey and they don't do peppermint, so having these in the car is fantastic. So I can just ask them to put some hot water in that. And then I think Chris is a knitter. She's a very good knitter. And so she very kindly sent me these skeins of yarn. Sorry, I can't hold them all now. Of course, I'm going to have to ball them. Yay! But no, they're really, really pretty. And I have decided, or I have started watching Caroline at Off the Grid Needle Arts. Has done a full series of Learn How to Knit. And I'm going to use these to do that, because I think the first thing you do is make a hat, and then following on from the hat, you can then start to make the socks. And it's the socks that I really want to get to. So once I have finished this crochet shawl, I will start on my hat. Beanie, I suppose it is, from Caroline at Off the Grid Needle Arts. And she also sent me this very pretty card with a lovely note in it, which was very kind of her. And as I said, the poor woman hasn't been able to escape since. She can't get away. So that is Chris Hindle 213 on Instagram. She doesn't actually post much on Instagram, but she does. She's on there liking a lot of everyone's photos and being very generous with her kind comments. And she's also thread needle on YouTube. So yes, so hello Chris, and thank you very much. Right, I think that's that for that. We will now get into my cross stitching. It's been just over a month. I've got quite a bit done, and other pieces I have got very little done. So we'll start with my Hade, which is Mini Garden Gate, artwork by Amy Stewart, charted by Hade. This is the one that has suffered quite a lot. I've managed to finish the third page, and it's lovely. I'm really enjoying it. I do love this piece. I can no longer get a square a day done. Kids back at school run and all the rest of it. So I'm going to start going down to just doing an hour every night to keep on plugging away at it. I'm going to start going across the top now, filling in lots of sky. And yeah, so there we go. I can't remember if I took any photos previously. The second whip is actually a finish. And not only is it a finish, it's an FFO. And it is Language of the Flowers from Rosewood Manor. So I started this last September. And it's been in my rotation, obviously, up until, well, I finished it just before the end of March. And, as I said, it is FFO'd. And here we are now. Let me move back a bit. Here. So, there aren't errors in this. I've said they're not errors, they're personal adaptations. I'm making the chart my own. There are a few personal adaptations in this, and certainly down in this, oh look, thread. In this corner at one point, it's just like, oh, I'm not frogging that, it's going to stay as it is. So this has got a bit of batting behind it, just to plump it out a bit. And this frame came from, I've forgotten to write this down, hopefully it's in here, Frame Company. I will put their details down below. This is now the third frame, I'll show you the other two in a minute, that I bought from this company. You know, cheap, good shipping. Yeah, can't complain. This piece, when I first framed it, when I first finished it, I was like, oh yeah, I love it, and I was so pleased I finished it. And then when I framed it, I was a bit like, oh, okay. Which is the opposite way around. Normally I finish a piece and I'm like, oh, and then I stick it in the frame. I think, oh, I love it. I'm so pleased I've done it. I'm so pleased I framed it. But actually, it's been sitting by the dining room table for a week or so now. And every time I look at it, I think, no, I do really like that. I went for a very simple frame, no mount board, because this is large enough as it is. So there we go. So that was Language of the Flowers, which we now have to put up on the wall. So because I finished that piece, I then started a new one, and I have gone for the Cricket Collection, Sleepy Hollow. And I have got the book. I was going to get the book and I forgot. I have got the book and I have read the story, and it's a fantastic story. I was slightly surprised when I ordered all the floss, 30 flosses later. Oh God. It's just a bit of grey, orange and black, surely, but no, 30 flosses later. And I did I have started it, and I did put on Instagram a post because, as you can see here, sorry, it's in 3 separate pieces, and then you join them to make this sort of, it's not really a flat fold, it is a flat fold-ish sort of finish. And I was thinking, oh, that looks like a lot of hard work. And I wondered if I could just do it all in one piece. And so I did put an Instagram post out and said, what does everyone think? And I think it was the Stitching Whippet. She sent me a POLR card, which is a path of least resistance pass. So she said, just take the easy route, do it all on one piece and enjoy it. And I think that is what I am going to do. I have got a couple of bigger Halloween charts that will end up being framed, and I think I'm just going to have a bit of a Halloween wall, to be honest with you. And I'm very muchly of Brenda from Brenda and the Cereal Starters thinking of, I've stitched it, I like it, I want to be able to see it, so I'm going to put it on the wall. And it's just going to stay up all year round. I'm not a huge decorator. It's just easier to hang it and leave it there. So I have started with the church. This is on an Ada I got from Coffee Crafts, Megan at Coffee Crafts, who is a Facebook. And I asked her to sort of hand dye a piece of Ada for me. So here we go, and I'm back stitching as we go along. I've already back stitched the church windows. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I've done this red piece or red line first of all, because this was the line that ran throughout the entire pattern. And I thought, well, if I'm doing it in the 3, I'm going to get that done so that it's all on a level to try and make it a bit easier. But now, as I'm not doing it in 3 pieces, I'm doing it as 1. It's not such a big thing. My next whip is a finish and a start again. So this is Waxing Moon Designs, the monthly samplers. They're on Etsy if you have, and PDF downloads, so they're fantastic. So I was doing December and I've now finished December. There is a lot of filling in these. I don't mind filling, but there is a lot of filling in these. And this, I cannot call it personal adaptations on this. This is just chock full of errors. Just chock full. Got to the point where I thought it was going to go off to diagonal at one point. I had so many errors in it, but there we go. We've blagged our way through it and got to the end. So I'm now starting on January, which I haven't got the chart out for. Oh well. Hopefully you'll see it when it's finished next month. So this is the beginning of January, but January has a lot of snow in it. A lot of snow. So a lot of white over 1 stitching, or not, over 2, sorry. So I am railroading those, and I do find they do tend to make a bit of difference. So that's January. I can't believe I didn't get a chart out of that. That's silly of me. Right, on to my date whips next. So those are my main pieces that I work on as much as I can. And then I felt the need for some starts a month or so ago. And so I started the 2020 Pandemic Sampler, which was a download from Sassy Girl on Instagram. All she asked was that you gave a donation to a charity, to a local charity. And I started this, I think, on the 1st of March as part of the hashtag It's Been One Hell of a Year sale, which was started by Emily C of Eclectic Possessions and Jen Lee of Quirks and Stitches. I am doing this 1/1 on 25 count. I wanted to give this a try because I have a number of large charts that I need to fit onto smaller fabric. These are my own colours, but trying to stay true to the chart. I just want to use up what I've got and pull from stash. And here we go. Oh, I am working on this twice a month actually. I decided because it was their birthday, they did it as a birthday start. I thought, well, I'll still do it on the 1st and I'll do it on the corresponding date of the month for my birthday. So it gets worked on twice a month, which is quite good because it's actually a decent sized piece. Really enjoyable stitch, but it's better to get 2 days rather than 1. So I have obviously done the 1st of April and it'll come back out in a couple of days' time. I've got a really dandy little cockerel down there. He's rather cool. I like my owl. The only thing I'm a little bit wondering about is this tree, basically this vine is supposed to be sort of 2 different colours, these leaves different, and I've just kept it as one because it's a variegated thread. And then I was going to do, there's a couple of trees in it and smaller motifs like that in it, but I think I might do those in a darker green. I don't know, I'll see later. But that's my progress so far. I've started one roof. There's 2 mega houses. Started one roof. I'm just going to put a thread in each time I pick it up and then go to a different motif. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that. So the next piece is the 13th. I stitched on the 13th for the Dark October Sal, and it is, Plum Street Samplers Earthly Treasures. Love this, I love the saying on this. And this is being done on 28 cashel linen, which I actually really enjoy. Again, I've pulled the colours from Stash, but just tried to keep them as close to the chart as possible. And this is as far as I've got. I also pulled this out on 31st, I decided, because I want to send this chart to a friend. And whilst I'm under no pressure to get it finished, it was like, well, it's a good excuse. I really enjoy stitching on it, so being able to bring it out on 31st again was good. So yes, I've got a load more words, which go quite quickly, and then the big gravestone motif at the top. So that is that one. My final whip, I had a bit of a disaster with. So this is Our Forest Embroidery, Merry Christmas. You'll have to excuse the black and white printout. It really is very pretty when it's printed in colour. And I'm stitching this on a 32 count Irish linen. So I had half of the M done in February, I think. So March I should have finished the M and started on the E. Well, I finished the M and then I was on a Zoom call, started the E and started it too high up, and I don't know how I'm going to finish this, but however I am going to finish it, I hadn't given myself enough room up here to do anything with it. And also the red and the green are variegated DMCs, and they're really, really pretty, but both of them, I ended up with the very, very light areas of the DMC to use, particularly on the letter. And so I've ended up ripping it all out, A, because it was too high, and B, because it was just too light and it wasn't showing up. And I was sort of laughing to myself at the time, because I think Christy from Daisy K's Primitives, she's using the same red that I'm using for a red sampler that she's doing. And she sort of said at one point, I'm just cutting the light bits out. I thought, oh my God, that's a bit dedicated. And there I am pulling it out going, yeah, no, it's just too light, it's not working. So next to no progress on this, but hopefully this month onwards, we'll be able to crack on a bit more. It is hard work to stitch. I'm finding this hard work to stitch on just, I think, the linen, it's quite difficult to see. So it's going to be slow going, but I do enjoy it. Certainly won't be done for this Christmas. So those are all my whips. I've got 2 finishes to show you, or 2 FFOs that have come out of my bag of shame. So the first one is from Jardin Privé, Opazed Gnomes. I do like gnomes. I'm not a huge fairy person, but I do like gnomes, elves, pixies, anything a little bit naughtier. I stitched this. Let's get my book. I don't know if I can remember when I stitched it at all, actually. I think it was when I was being a bit more of a monogamous stitcher. But it was a really enjoyable stitch. Here we go. What did I put? Oh, I started it at some point in 2018 or 19, and I finished it at some point in 2018 or 2019. So that's not really very helpful. So this is stitched on 28 count, again, cashel linen from Hobbycraft, I think. And I don't know which way to go. Sorry, I'm going to go that way. And there we go. So this is another one of these frames from the Total Frame company. Again, I'll link them below. And I really like it. These aren't the callful colours. I bought a couple of big frames, as in stitching frames, from a lady, and she had a whole load of anchor floss that she gave to me as well. And I spent a long time bobbinating the anchor floss and converting it to the DMC numbers. So I have again tried to stay true-ish to the colours on the pattern, and this is anchor floss that's been converted to the DMC. But I like it, it's really cool. It's such a sweet little pattern. I like a lot of the Jardin Privé patterns, and they're so bright and colourful. So that's the first finish. And then the second, sorry, I don't know how to put that. The second finish is Ira Ray and Ida Mae Crow from The Good Housewife or Huswife. I don't know how you say. And I've stitched these two together. Now, I first saw these on Priscilla and Chelsea's Stitching with Housewives, and I was a bit late to the party with them. I think I started when they were doing YouTube number 50. I did go back and watch from the beginning and carry on through. And she showed these, and I absolutely loved them. And then I saw everyone absolutely loved them and wanted to stitch them, and no one could find them. Yeah, I bought them off her Etsy shop. I don't really understand what the problem is. Now, whether she doesn't do her shop so much anymore, it's only open every now and again, and I was just lucky and caught it on the time that it was open. I don't know. But if you are looking for these charts, it might be worth going to The Good Housewife on Etsy and seeing what's happening there. So I stitched these two together on a piece of tea and coffee dyed Ada. I don't know what count. Again, it is framed. Again, this is the conversion from the anchor. This is anchor threads, vaguely following the colours on the pattern. I really like it. The only thing, and I love this frame, and I like the frame for the piece. I'm just not sure about the colour of the Ada within the frame, but I mean, it is what it is now, and it's going to stay as it is. But yeah, so they're quite cool. So they'll go in the kitchen. I have a lot of sort of hens, birds and things in the kitchen. So those are my two FFOs for this month. I've still got a few more to go in my bag of shame. I'm going to quickly talk about plans next. Again, we're going to blame Brenda from Brenda and the Cereal Starter. They are doing a Blackbird Design sale. So the first weekend of the month, starting in May, it's Stitch on Something Blackbird. And I bought the Windsor Autumn book this autumn. I think it was one of my first Blackbird design pieces. I thought, well, I better buy one, see what everyone's raving about. And they're really good. They're so pretty. I want to stitch everything in here, which I'm sure everyone says. And I've decided, let's see if I can cover that a bit better. I've decided for my first piece, I am going to stitch this one, which is the first winds of autumn. I have just seen somebody finish this on Instagram and it looked really, really good. I've bought the flosses. I'm not doing the overdyes. I've just bought the DMCs. So I bought the flosses. I've never made a strawberry before, but you get good instructions in here. And I am going to use my 32 count vellum from Chris for that piece. Obviously, as long as it's big enough, I haven't checked. I'm assuming it's going to be big enough. If it is, that is what I'm going to use. So that's very exciting. So that is a future start for, well, the 1st of May. I probably won't have done the next Flosstube by then, or the first weekend in May. I did a little bit of admin with my cross stitching. I bought this book year and a half ago. Notebook for cross stitch charts. Document your stitching progress and patterns. I got it, it's Ardith Designs. I got it from Amazon. And it's sat on the shelf with me doing absolutely nothing with it for a year to 18 months. So this is what you get, a page where you can write all your little notes in, and start date, finish date, colour conversions, and all the rest of it. To be quite honest, I don't use very much of those parts of the pages at all. What I have done is I have taken a photocopy of the charts that I have done, and then I've just filled in the very bare basics, mainly of what I can remember, because obviously I haven't kept this up to date, of the count, yeah, the fabric count and the threads and when I started it, really. That's the main thing I want to be able to remember, is when I didn't start. So nothing overly pretty or arty, but it works. Well, it works for me anyway. And I think now it's on to haul. I don't really know what's happened this month. It's all got a bit out of control. I seem to be very much that either I buy nothing or I buy everything. And something I have got to do is I've got to get off the Stash Unload UK website, because things go on there so quickly now, as in get bought so quickly, that I am very muchly, the minute I see anything, I'm just like, yes, 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 yes. And there's been a couple of times I thought, God, what have I bought that for? And I've only bought it because I'm panicked that somebody else is going to buy it. I will stitch them, but you know, I do need to just stop, get off it for a few days. Anyway, I think in my first YouTube video, I talked about Megan from Coffee Craft Fabrics Facebook page, where she does hand-dyed Ada, even weave. I think she does linen as well. And she did a Christmas bundle, and she had offered to do an Easter bundle, which I signed up for. So it's just like a lucky dip, 6 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of fabric, spring Eastery themed. So I said, yes, please. So I received these yesterday, I think. So the first piece is a 14 count Ada, which is very nice. Then we have a 27 count even weave. I have to say, these heavily mottled pieces aren't something I would naturally be drawn to, but having said that, either half or even down to, like, you can see where the folds are, for smalls I think they would be absolutely great. And I do intend on doing the small from Be More Creative, Beth at Be More Creative, on one of these, because I think it'll look really sweet. This is another 27 count even weave. This is a 16 count Ada. And this is another 27 count Eden weave. This is so pretty. I think this is probably the one that I will use for Beth's little small. Probably fit onto one of those little squares there. So sweet. So yeah, so that's lovely to receive. It's always great to have them in stock. I'm quite happy on Ada as I am on even weave, slightly less happy on linen, but I am trying to train myself to it. And I think there was a post from Megan saying that she had been in hospital for a couple of days and she's out now. So I do hope that you're better, feeling well. I doubt that you watch this, but you know, yeah, I hope you're better. I then managed to buy there was another foxglove and lace linen sale on Instagram. Chris and I, hair in messy buns, sleeves rolled up, we were ready. And I managed to get a 36 count minty, which is a lot greener. It's very pretty, but it's slightly stronger, I would say stronger colour than what's showing up on there. And then, I don't know if it's another Flosstuber, if I saw it on Flosstube or if it was just on an Instagram post, but there is Paula from Eva, EVA Faith on Etsy, and she is, I've written it down, at the snail garden _ Eva Faith shop on Instagram. And she posted that she'd dyed a whole load of linens and she was going to upload them to her Etsy store. So we thought, fab, we'll give those a go. And I managed to buy, what did I get hold of? Oh, I know, my phone kept on buffering. And so I clicked on it. And then when I tried to pay for it, for some reason it wouldn't let me. And then by the time I'd refreshed it, somebody else had bought it. I was like, oh my God. But I did manage to get 2. So I got a 32 count linen in stone. So that's absolutely lovely. And I got a 32 count linen in truffle. So again, lovely, lovely, lovely. And that's it for fabrics. I think I am fabriced out. Really don't need any more fabrics. Just need to do some more stitching. And then we move on to charts. Really sorry, I don't know what's the matter with me this month. All got a bit out of control. So I think in my last video I was being a little bit blasé about the whole Needlework Expo, and I was just going to sit back and watch it all unfold. And last year I'd been panicked into buying something, and that wasn't going to happen again. And I think 5 minutes after I finished that video, I thought, better just see if anybody's actually going to be ordering the chart that I want. And I had wanted, the only one that had really jumped out at me, I mean, there were lots of lovely ones that I'm sure I will buy in the future, but this was one that jumped out at me. Keslin's Cross Stitch Fun. Now I had a look at the main shops I buy things from online in England, and I think Arts and Designs stock Keslin's charts, but not these sorts of ones, and nowhere else had her in stock. So I reached out to Carla at the Patchwork Rabbit and said, I think it was only like a day or two before the Needlework Expo, and said, oh, if there's any chance you could pick one of these up for me, would you please? And she very kindly emailed back and said, yes, you know, I like that one as well. I think she liked the cat at the bottom. And, you know, sort of a couple of weeks later it had arrived. She said, it's here, you need to purchase it. So I did. And I think quite a few people purchased it. And I did see, again, the Stitching Whippet. She bought it. Said, I think there needs to be a Sam. Well, so do I. So organise one. Stitching Whippet, get on it. I will join in. The next charts are from Stash Unload. So these are Mama Loves UGB's fault. She told us how Brenda Gervais was no longer shipping to the UK. So of course I had to get them. So the first one is Holiday Hoopla Easter. It's very sweet. I don't have any Easter patterns at the moment. Next year, we're only into April, but next year my plans are to have a couple of large sampler starts and do a whole load of smalls. Because I do want pillows and things, not hundreds of them, but just per season or particular months. So this is Brenda Gervais Basket Full of Springtime. And this one is so cool, I love this one. I don't know which my favourite part of this one actually is, whether it's the blue in the eggs or just everything. Welcome Spring. Then I picked up Barbara Anna Designs Sadie Wood 1901. So that's really cool. I think you can divide samplers into two different sorts of size. You can get almost like Town Mouse and Country Mouse. So you get town samplers, which are what I call hands across the sea samplers. You know, they've got the immaculate borders, they're all symmetrical, and everything's great. And then you get the country samplers, which are a bit more like this. And I've got a couple of pieces, and I've got a couple of charts where they're just a bit more primitive, less symmetrical, less the very strong border. And I like both. And you know, one of these days I'm going to have a country sampler wall and a town sampler wall, obviously. So this was be a country sampler wall chart. So that is Barbara Anna Designs Sadie Wood 1901. And then this, I'm so pleased I got this. So pleased. This was off Stash Unload UK. So pleased I got it. Country Life Sampler. I absolutely love it. And I love the pig, the Shire horse in the corners, the cows. Love it all. And I love the saying, which you won't be able to read there. I can barely read it. But I have got a plate with the saying on it. So it says, let the wealthy and great roll in splendour and state. I envy them not, I declare it. I eat my own lamb, my own chickens and ham. I shear my own fleece and I wear it. I have lawns, I have bowers, I have fruits, I have flowers. The lark is my morning alarmer. So jolly boys now, here's Godspeed the plough, long life and success to the farmer. Which is my other half is a farmer. I think it's quite appropriate really. So I'm really pleased I've got that chart. And I can't wait to stitch it. This chart, I think I might have bitten off more than I could chew. Eyes were bigger than my belly. And, but I am pleased I have got it. It's the Elizabeth Muir sampler from the collection of the Embroiderers Guild of America. And now this has a lot, oh, sorry about that, of speciality stitches in it. And I mean, it's a booklet. Absolute booklet, and with all the diagrams of how to do the speciality stitches, and I'm quite intrigued to start trying to do some of those and learning them. I get the feeling this might be one that I start next year. Sorry for the reflection. I might just end up sort of aiming to do a row a month or something like that. But yeah, it's a bit of a beast, but I shall look forward to doing it. And then this one I bought. Arts and Designs, I buy quite a bit from Arts and Designs, and mainly their DMC, but I do like their shop. And they send out a weekly newsletter, and in their latest weekly newsletter they said that they were going on holiday, or they were having a holiday for a week, so the shop was going to be shut, which of course sent me into a mass panic. So I then, you know, it's only a week, but I had to kit up 3 or 4 pieces with my DMC threads. And then they also said that there were a few samplers in the bargain bin. Well, I've never found a bargain bin on their website, so I was quite intrigued. And I ended up with this Permin Anno 1854, and it's kit. It was half price, and it was a kit. And this is obviously to go on my town sample. I think I've got fabric, threads. What fabric is it? Does it say? I thought it said somewhere. It's 100% linen. I don't think it gives you an actual, it might give you a size on the inside, but I won't bore you trying to find that. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. And I think as it was in the bargain bin, it was half price. I think it was £18 for everything, for the entire kit, which, you know, linen, threads and chart, really, really good. So I'm looking forward to that one. And I think that is it. I think that is all that I've managed to buy this month. I have ordered something. I actually have bought something. I'm just waiting for it to arrive. So I'll show you that hopefully next month if it gets here. That was a big buy. Another big chart. I do seem to have a bit of a problem with big charts. But there we go. So I will link below, particularly this frame company that I've already told you about with the 3 frames. Certainly the first 2 frames, the Ira May and the Opay the Gnomes, I think the 2 of them together with shipping were under £25. I mean, they're not here the next day, but they are really, really good. And the Language of the Flowers frame, which obviously is that significantly bit bigger, was still 20 odd, between 20 and 30, I think. You know, when everything reopens, I will be hunting through the charity shops along with everyone else to find the frames, but I certainly think great company, great delivery, can't complain. So that is the end of my cross-stitching segment. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're leaving me here, have a good month, and I hope you will come back in May. I might have one of the smaller pieces finished, we shall see, I might not. And I'm going to go on to quilting now. So if you're leaving me now, bye-bye and thank you very much. Right, quilting, I have eventually, finally finished. I've quilted and bound both my Star a Day quilt and my laundry basket quilt. I can't remember the name of the chart and I didn't bring the book with me because I finished it. I will insert a couple of photos here. I've got my son to stand on some steps and hold them for me. So hopefully you will see those finished. They're all quilted, hand bound, done and dusted. Little bit traumatised about putting my Star a Day quilt in the wash. Just not because I think anything will run. I'm just not sure my stitches will hold up. It might get shredded before it's had a month's worth of use, but we shall see. Anyway, so now that I've got those done, I can start on my Catherine Kerr Etoile Rouge weekly quilt along. I have found a photo of it. It's not a fantastic photo, but I have found a photo of it which I will insert here. I'm about 8 or 9 weeks behind, but I have just managed to put 3 blocks together this weekend. So, starting the wrong. First block I did, and I'm this time, so this is the fabric that I bought from Country Threads in Bath. I sent her the details in January. I sent her the details via email and photos. She sent me through this beautiful package of fabric. I'd asked for it to be, it is a red quilt, Etoile Rouge. She did it in, I think hers was done in French General fabrics. It's absolutely lovely, but I wanted a slightly Christmassy twist on mine. So I have done, I can't show you that. It's Star of Hope. So basically every week you get sent a block, which is a star. There's sashing in between and cornerstones, which I'm about to start making soon. And I'm going to join them all together as I make them, and then join all the rows together and try and keep up with it like that. So I'm hoping, yeah, this will show you. So this is the Star of Hope. And for the first time, I'm starching. It's an absolute game changer. Absolutely fantastic. Love it. So pleased. All I'm doing is either cutting, starching, and then finely cutting, or starching, cutting a long bit off, and then cutting off the rest. But it makes such a difference. And just putting the smaller pieces, I mean, these aren't terribly small, but just putting smaller pieces through the machine is far easier. So this is Mosaic. So this is the second block. And I'm just taking my time with it and trying to be a lot more careful. For example, things like these points, making sure the points in the square in the middle didn't get cut off. And yeah, it's quite nice. Having it as a weekly one, it's quite easy to get. I'm imagining it's going to be quite easy to get a block a week done. So you're not rushing at it. So you're not then, yeah, messing it up quite so much. And the third block that I have made is the card basket. And yes, those are mitered corners. Thank you very much. They are good, aren't they? Very impressed with those. They wouldn't have been so good without the starch. I tried making mitered corners. Sorry, for those of you that don't know, those are my mitered corners. I've tried making mitered corners on another quilt, and I really struggled with them. But I took my time this time. It's a bit more logical about it, a bit more methodical. Starched it within an inch of its life. And yeah, it's worked, and I'm so pleased with it. So pleased. So that is it for the quilting. I've got a few finishes, cross-stitching finishes that I want to get done. I've been looking through my fabric, and there's various things I'll either use to might make a project bag, don't know, or some table runners. But I'm not going to start anything big now until until July. I've got a beast of a quilt planned in July, and I certainly don't want to buy any more fabric until I get to that point, because I don't want to have to stint on the fabric that I buy for that quilt, because it's going to be as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be a very special quilt, and I can't wait to start it. But I'm making myself start in July. So yeah, so hopefully next month I'll have a few more of those blocks done, and maybe a couple of rows pieced together to give you more of an idea. So that's the end of the quilting section. This is going to be quite a, maybe not that quick, reasonably quick video. So we're now going to go on to crochet. It's still on the go. I think last time I showed you I was either just starting the red, or I was talking about starting the red. I have put, can you see? the red onto it now. And I've gone back to the green, or to the multicoloured green. I really like the red in it. I like the contrast. This green is now coming off the rat's nest of a yarn that I have. So how much green goes on depends on how much I can pull out of the rat's nest and when I lose my patience with doing so. I have bought a brown, a plain brown, that I'm going to use just as a trim around the edge. At the moment, I mean, I love it. I still enjoy stitching on it. I'm not doing it anymore though, as where I did 2 weeks of cross stitching, 1 week of quilting and 1 week of crochet, because I do find that I can really only sort of, I prefer to do a bit every day. And I certainly don't get as much achieved in a week, just giving it a week as I'd like to. So I'm doing it slightly differently. So I just pick it up when I have a cup of tea or whatnot in half an hour. It doesn't actually look it like it from here because this is hanging down a bit. My only concern at the moment is this is supposed to be a shawl. Now I had wanted it as a shawl, more of a wrap around my neck sort of shawl. And at the moment, I want this end to be sort of longer. I don't really know how to describe it. I want there to be less of a angle. No, I'm not describing myself very well, I'm sorry. I'll keep going with it at the moment, but it doesn't seem to be shaping out like it's going to be great for wrapping around my neck. It is going to be a proper round the shoulder shawl, which might involve buying some more yarn because it's just taking so long to get anywhere. I do like it, I do enjoy it. It's nowhere near in the realm of Zoe Coco Creates shawl, but I have already seen a new pattern, which is a granny square shawl, where you sort of put your arms through it, which I do want to do at some point as well. But obviously I've got to finish that one first. And I think that might be it. I think that's the end of this month's Flosstube. So thank you very much if you've lasted this long. It's very kind of you. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll come back in May to see my future progress. I apologise for all the ums. I don't normally think I'm that bad, but I do seem to be quite bad this month. And I hope you have I think I'm going to save awesome for August. So we'll go for amazing. I hope you have an amazing April. I hope you've eaten all the chocolate already that you got for Easter. Yeah, and I think, what have I got? I've got a haircut, woo, woo, and an eyebrow wax. But this month, that's the most exciting thing that's going to be happening for us. Well, for me, nobody else is going to be interested. Probably nobody else will notice. For me this month. Yeah, and now I'm just waffling. So have a great April. What did I say? Did I say amazing April? Have an amazing April, and I will see you in May. Take care. Bye-bye.